I showed up on the first day, and I had the sense that as they'd been putting this site together, it had almost had a kind of grab bag feeling to it. Bruce, while he was kind of the visionary behind it, he didn't want to be involved in the day-to-day, the details. He travels a lot. He was still involved in the magazine. He wanted to be going out, going to conferences, etc. So they needed someone to kind of come in and really handle the day-to-day aspects of actually running a website, which is, an incredibly time-consuming job. And we were publishing daily. Actually, today we're not publishing daily. It's been scaled back a little bit for various reasons, but at the time we had to feed the beast. The modus operandi seemed to be get as many links on the page as possible. So it made for there was no white space. It made for a very cluttered grab bag kind of feel, which is something that we struggled with. I think it's something that all designers, web designers, struggle with as well. Coy Vin is the design director at NewYorkTimes.com, and I know he's talked a lot about kind of how the technology and the platforms, the systems that you need to actually be able to throw up, all this data, so many stories every day. The New York Times could not have somebody designing every story page, right? So you need a template, but it really removes the possibility for design direction, for laying out a story in a way that makes sense for that story. And that's a real tension online. If you look at, say, Apple and software that they've designed for their iPhone apps, they've almost kind of injected their graphic design, interaction design, DNA into the tools that these software developers are using to create those apps. So they are, in a way, kind of passing on some of their design skill, making it much harder for a software designer who really doesn't have training in design to create an ugly app.
On the iPhone, everything behaves as you expect it, and the tools they're simple, but they mask this incredible amount of power underneath.
It's really the first time that we've been able to take a platform and now go to our designers and say, there's no limitations.
What Apple's done is made it so we can just focus on what we do best, and they've taken care of all the details.
In fact, sometimes I have to stop and say, wow, this is a mobile device I'm developing for, because it feels like a desktop application API.
Most of the tools and systems that are being built, that underlie, say, businessweek.com or NewYorkTimes.com, they were not built by those companies, right? So there's a disconnect. There's not that connection of interest in creating systems that lead to good-looking, well-designed experiences. And I think, if someone can make that connection, you'll start to see a big impact.